Week 1 is nearly in the books, and, as expected, we're already seeing massive overreactions to a ridiculously small sample size. This happens every NFL season. By November, we'll look back at the opening week and wonder, how did that happen? So let's try to separate the legit outcomes from the fluky ones with a game of 3 myths and 3 truths. Myth: Carson Palmer is done after his 3-interception game. Raj Matausa, Today Sports. Palmer did not play well in Detroit, but his performance was not as bad as the box score would have you believe. His first pick was totally on him. His second was a high throw caused by pressure. His third bounced right off a wide-open Andre Ellington's hands. Palmer missed some throws and made some bad decisions, but his arm strength, the one thing you worry about with aging quarterbacks, was just fine, as Bruce Arians noted after the game. The Cardinals' offensive line is a far bigger concern than number 3. Truth: The Cowboys' defense will be just fine. Matthew Emanzusa, Today Sports. Pro tip: don't ever doubt Cowboys defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli. Sure, the Cowboys lost a lot of players from the secondary in the offseason, and the team doesn't have a bona fide pass rusher on the defensive line, but as long as Marinelli is around, the defense will never be the total disaster we always seem to expect it to be. The young secondary played disciplined football. The defensive line did not dominate the Giants but played well enough to hold them to 3 points. And the linebackers, as expected, were everywhere on the field. This is a solid unit coached by a wizard. Nobody is going to confuse this unit for the 85 Bears, but Dallas should be able to play league-average defense under Marinelli's tutelage. With that offense, that will be more than enough. Myth: The Raiders' defense is catching up to the offense. Jim Brownusa, Today Sports. The biggest surprise of week 1 of May have been Oakland holding the Titans' offense to 16 points. The Raiders' defense held back a dominant offense last year. If the unit can play as well as it did on Sunday, Oakland is a legit Super Bowl contender. But the score of the game is a bit deceiving. The Titans really had no issues moving the ball. Almost half of their 9 drives went for at least 40 yards. Tennessee's running game was successful. Marcus Mariota had no issues in the first half but missed far too many open opportunities in the second. If not for a missed field goal, the Titans would have averaged 2.11 points per drive. That's a league average number. And remember, this Titans offense was struggling late in the season before Mariota's injury. Defenses seem to be catch up to Mike Mularkey's exotic smash mouth. Raiders fans have every right to be excited about the defensive performance, but let's wait a few more weeks before getting too excited. Truth: Bill O'Brien made a mistake starting Tom Savage. Troy Talminausa, Today Sports. Does any coach botch his quarterback competitions as often as O'Brien? It seems like every season, HES changing his starter by the end of September. I'll give him a break because he hasn't had a whole lot of talent to work with over the years. But he has no excuse for even wasting a half letting Tom Savage play. Savage just isn't used starter in this league. He's not accurate and holds the ball for an eternity. He's just an arm. Deshaun Watson may not know the offense well enough for this point, but his mobility adds another dimension to the offense. The rookie made his share of mistakes against a good Jags D, but he gave the team a spark. More importantly, he made sure to feed DeAndre Hopkins the football. Watson will likely be named the starter this week, but we still have to ask what took so long. Myth: Jared Goff is a lost cause. Robert Hanashirusa, Today Sports. So maybe we can't label Goff a bust just yet. All off-season, experts around the country wrote Goff off. Even after a good preseason, people were skeptical. Eric Dickerson was actually calling for the team to start Sean Mannion. What a difference a week makes. Goff went 21 of 29 for 301 yards and a touchdown. He had some shaky moments, but the second-year quarterback looked the part on Sunday. This is what happens when you support your young QB with a competent supporting cast and a coaching staff that knows how modern NFL offenses operate. It's also important to remember Goff is only 22. He's nearly 2 years younger than draftmate Carson Wentz. Give the kid some time. Truth: The Browns' rebuild is ahead of schedule. Scott R. Galvin, USA Today Sports. The Browns may have lost their season opener against the Steelers, but, for the first time in a long time, they looked like a real live NFL team. If not for a blocked punt on the first drive of the game, Cleveland may have actually escaped with a win over one of the AFC's best teams. The defense was flying all over the field, and DeShone Kizer impressed in his debut. This looks like a good football team, which we were not expecting this soon into the Moneyball experiment. In the end, Antonio Brown's brilliance was too much for the Browns, but they won't have to worry about playing the Steelers every week. After a tough game in Baltimore next week, Cleveland has 2 winnable games on the schedule. Look, Cleveland isn't going to make the playoffs or even come close, but a 610 season is now on the table. At the very least, the Browns are no longer the automatic win they've been in the past.